I'm Lu Yan from Beijing Review Magazine, and this is the Governance Podcast, a podcast that explores the past, present, and future of governance in China as it works toward meeting its development goals and finds its place in the global community. In February 2019, NASA announced the world is literally a greener place because of China, together with India, greening our planet. Based on its satellite imagery, China and India were the two countries making the largest contribution to the global increase in green foliage. Data show China alone accounted for 25% of the global net increase in green leaf area between the year 2000 and 2017. Less than 2 years after NASA's announcement, by the end of 2020, China has accomplished its goal of eradicating absolute poverty, demonstrating that ecological restoration and economic development can be achieved in tandem. Later in the show, we'll find out how the government has been using ecological conservation to improve living standards as part of the targeted poverty alleviation campaign championed by President Xi. President Xi does not see economic growth and environmental protection as contradictory goals. Instead, he sees protecting the environment as an important path to economic development and new technologies and resources generated by economic development as being capable of further enhancing environmental governance. This thought is illustrated by his famous statement, "Green is gold." Xi is reported to have first come up with the concept in 2005 when he was secretary of the Zhejiang Provincial Committee of the Communist Party of China. During a study tour to a village in Zhejiang, he learned that the village had shut down mines that damaged the environment and switched to tourism as a new way of increasing incomes. It was at this point that he formulated the slogan, "Clear waters and lush mountains are as valuable as mountains of gold and silver." His aim was for the slogan to increase awareness of the economic value of having a good environment. That slogan is often summed up in English with the phrase, "Green is gold." In this episode of the Governance Podcast, we'll be talking to political scientist Zhang Ye, silviculturist Alfred Pella, and former UN Under-Secretary General and current president of the Green Belt and Road Institute, Eric Solheim, to share their interpretation of Xi's thought on the relationship between the economy and the environment. My first guest is Zhang Ye, an assistant professor at the School of Marxism at Shanghai Lixing University of Accounting and Finance, who will share some of her observations on the cultural background of Xi's philosophy. Zhang holds a PhD from Australian Catholic University and has in recent years been studying Chinese politics from a cross-cultural perspective. Ms. Zhang, thanks for joining me on the Governance Podcast.
My pleasure.
In your opinion, what influence does traditional or ancient Chinese thought have on China's current approach to the relationship between the environment and the economy?
Traditional Chinese culture contains rich ecological wisdom. It is an important feature of President Xi's vision on eco-civilization to inherit and creatively develop excellent traditional Chinese ecological thought. Let me take the concept of 天人合一 as an example. Literally meaning heaven and humans are united as one, 天人合一 is a main worldview elaborated by different schools of traditional Chinese thought, such as Confucianism and Taoism. Heaven can be understood as the entirety of nature manifesting certain laws and order. There exist both opposition and contradictions, as well as interconnection and interdependence between humans and nature. Humans need to continuously increase our understanding of nature, seek out and resolve contradictions, and ultimately achieve and maintain a harmonious and sustainable relationship with nature. This sort of dialectical unity stands in stark contrast to either-or dualism, in which humans and nature are purely separated or even in opposition to each other. Emerging from this dualism, the worldview of humans dominating nature and the long-term practice of anthropocentrism in Western societies are arguably the root causes of the ecological turmoil we face today. Through drawing greatly on the thought of Qian and He and integrating a Marxist understanding of community, President Xi proposed the concept of a community of life for humans and nature, initially at the Leaders' Summit on Climate on April 2021. The concept calls for not regarding the economy and the environment as always being in conflict and conducting economic activities with respect for nature. It has now become a main principle guiding the advancement of an eco-civilization in China, under which the economic activities should be taken on the basis of respecting and following the way of nature. Environmental conservation and economic progress should not be regarded as purely contradicting with each other. Instead, through seeking ways to solve contradictions, a win-win for both ecological conservation and high-quality development is possible.
So you're saying that while the Western attitude to the environment has been influenced by the traditional concept the humans have dominion over nature, China has sought to achieve harmony. Is harmony achievable given China's ambitious economic goals? How does the government plan to achieve both?
Ambitious economic goals are proposed together with unprecedented determination and action in building an eco-civilization. Achieving harmony, however, is not a one-time thing. It is not like a goal that once achieved, our work is done forever. Rather, it is an ongoing and long-term process. New contradictions will continue emerging, along with which new goals and tasks need to be set. The key is to achieve a dynamic balance among multiple tasks through ongoing efforts. And this is not easy, particularly for China, which has a huge population and a vast and complex geography. The Chinese government fully understands that the pursuit of an eco-civilization should be carried out phase by phase. Based on a summary of experiences in previous phases, new strategies and goals have been set up in the outline of the 14th Five-Year Plan 2021-25 for national economic and social development and Vision 2035 of the People's Republic of China. They are further localized and specified in the plans of local governments at all levels. And China's new development philosophy that envisions innovative, coordinated, green, open, and shared development, a series of work has been laid out systematically, including continuously adjusting and optimizing the economic structure, further promoting the ecological restoration and prevention of pollution, formulating stricter laws and regulations on environmental protection, reforming the ecological supervision and assessment system, and so on.
Dialectical thinking is an approach to understanding a particular thing, phenomena, or idea. It embraces the fact that there are multiple contradictory aspects to that thing, and these contradictory aspects are also related, interdependent, and unified in various ways. As a result, there could be multiple contradictory truths that exist about that thing. For example, instead of considering the relationship between the economy and the environment to be either mutually detrimental or mutually beneficial, a dialectical approach allows for the fact that the relationship could be mutually detrimental, mutually beneficial, or mutually transformational at the same time. Dialectical thinking also requires looking at things from a dynamic and developmental perspective. It continues to seek out new contradictory aspects or truths about a thing, resolving those contradictions to build new understanding of it, then, based on this new understanding, seeking new contradictions to resolve in the pursuit of increasing harmony between seemingly conflicting aspects. In the case of the economy and the environment in China, this continuous process of identifying and resolving contradictions has led to a better understanding of the connection between them and thus greater harmony in the management of both. Our next guest, Alfred Pella, has a long history of working on environmental projects in China. Silviculture is a science of forest management, and for the past 45 years, Pella, a professor of silviculture at the University of Natural Resources and Life Sciences in Vienna, Austria, has been working on China-EU programs with a focus on the health of China's forests. In 2008, he was awarded the Friendship Award, China's highest award for professionals from overseas who have made significant contributions to the country's development. President Xi envisions a new model for human progress that calls for coordinated development on the economic, political, cultural, social, and ecological fronts. The green is gold philosophy is a core concept in ecological progress. In an exclusive interview with Beijing Review reporter Peng Jiawei last year, Pella shared his views on China's concept of eco-civilization, in which humans and nature harmoniously coexist. Let's take a listen.
Professor Pella, you have been working with China on afforestation for over 40 years. How did this decades-long process of collaboration first begin? What keeps you coming back to China?
In 1978, we started between Austria and China to exchange 3 seeds. This was the very beginning of our cooperation, and in 1978, when our cooperation started, the 2 large national programs started. One is the 3 North project, which combat desertification, sandstorms, and so on. And the second big program is the Yangtze River Conservation Program, which water erosion. And then in 1992, the huge and long-term program between Europe and China, especially Germany and China, started. And I am involved since the first project in Shanxi province in 1992. We are dealing with a global problem, which cannot be solved by a single person, a single university, a single country. This needs cooperation.
So based on your experience working in China, how do you understand President Xi's vision of an eco-civilization?
This way of harmonious culture, Taoism, Yin and Yang, not black or white, but black and white. Yeah? This philosophy cannot be ordered top down. This has to be lived by people. We have to understand that we, as humans, live in nature, we live from nature, and therefore we have to live with nature. In China, you have the eco-civilization model. This is a very good term for describing the goal, yeah? The balance between ecosystems and civilization. You started your economy like a rocket. You have also been facing the same problems than we, but in a very short period. So this term eco-civilization is exactly what we are aiming to. If you have the Chinese character of crisis, there are 2 characters. One is danger, second is opportunity. We're facing this danger, but we have an opportunity. It's no mistake. It's a lessons learned in the development of human society. Now, realize this situation, to wake up from our previous very narrow-sighted life to a wide-scale vision.
That was silviculturist and longtime collaborator on China-EU environmental projects, Alfred Pella, talking to Beijing Review reporter Peng Jiawei about how the concept of yin and yang informed China's current ideas on how humans should interact with nature. This concept of yin and yang being mutually supportive of one another takes form in Xi's green is gold philosophy, under which economic development should have a net positive impact on the environment, and the healthy environment itself is a resource for economic growth. As the economy keeps growing and people's basic material needs are met, they can start focusing on other wants and look at how to prioritize these to maximize enjoyment and quality of life. Travel is one such desire. Villages sitting in beautiful ecological surroundings have become popular holiday destinations, turning village tourism into a new trend. But tourism is only part of the story. Integration of the environment with the economy has created huge profitable industries. China is also keen to share this concept of mutually supportive environmental and economic development internationally. It's doing so not only as a form of assistance to countries grappling with similar issues, but also to use the concept itself as a platform to enhance cooperation and build ties. Eric Solheim, former UN Under-Secretary General and President of the Green Belt and Road Institute, who is also a winner of the Friendship Award, joined the podcast to share his insights on cooperation and its evolving role in global environmental governance. Mr. Solheim, thank you very much for joining me on this program.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be with you today.
President Xi regularly uses the phrase green is gold, which means that environmental protection and healthy ecosystems can also bring economic benefits. How do you see the relationship between China's economy and its environment?
Every nation which has been really successful in fighting environment destruction has done it with the focus on the co-benefit. How can we grow the economy and take care of the environment all the same? Well, in the past, there was a contradiction. You couldn't really grow the economy without the environment cost, because coal was the only available energy which could bring everyone out of poverty. But now, solar is the cheapest energy anywhere in the world. So if you go from coal to solar, you save money added to bringing better health and better environment to the people. And that is the underpinning understanding of the Chinese environment policies today. They will bring prosperity to China while taking care of Mother Earth at the same time. And maybe the best example is the electric vehicle industry. Look, China didn't have a world-known brand in the old industry. There was no Chinese anything similar to Toyota. Everyone in the world knows Toyota. No one at the time knew any Chinese brand for gasoline cars. Well, then China decided to leapfrog from the old cars into electric cars. And now China is exporting more cars than any other nation in the world. BYD is the biggest electric car brand in the world, and about 10 different brands, NIO, Hongqi, Geely, even Huawei is making electric cars now, and China is 60% of the global market for electric cars. If China had stayed in the old days, the gasoline cars, the economic prosperity coming from electric cars would have been impossible, and of course this has been an enormous positive development for the planet, introducing electric cars at scale.
So what opportunities can China's green development bring for international cooperation?
Number one is to bring this enormous power of Chinese industries, because China is by far the nation with the greatest industrial ecosystem anywhere in the world. China has a very educated working class, and it has a lot of enterprises in basically every environment industries. I mean, look, Tongwei and Longye are the biggest solar companies in the world. CATL is the biggest electric battery company in the world. Goldwinds and Envision are the biggest wind companies in the world. And I could go on and go on and go on. And if these companies are investing abroad, they will create jobs in other parts of the world while bringing the environment technology. Let me add that China is also the biggest nation on conservation of nature, protection of animals, like, say, the giant panda, or a national park scheme, which is now the biggest in the world. So China can bring expertise and knowledge to the world, and China can bring investment in the green sectors to other parts of the world.
The green is gold philosophy represents a break with the idea that economic growth and environmental protection cancel each other out. Instead, protecting the environment has become a source of economic growth, and economic growth and technological advances are increasing China's capacity to protect its environment. Throughout this series, we'll be exploring topics related to President Xi and how governance is practiced in China. To stay up to date on the podcasts, visit the Beijing Review website, bjreview.com. Find us on YouTube or Spotify with the tag Beijing Review, or look for us where you get your podcasts. I'm Lu Yan in Beijing. Thanks for listening to the Governance Podcast. Bye for now.